Cahokia, the first real North American empire. Long before the arrival of Christopher Columbus, Cahokia and the great cities of the Mississippian culture stood as powerful centers of civilization. These thriving societies rose and fell centuries before European contact, reshaping the historical narrative of North America. Timing played a crucial role in shaping history. When Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, the first real North American empire had already declined. If European explorers had crossed the Atlantic just 70 years earlier, they would have encountered not scattered tribes, but a highly organized civilization capable of resisting foreign intrusion into the New World. For over a millennium, the Mississippian culture connected diverse peoples through vast networks of trade, warfare, and diplomacy. This powerful confederation consisted of more than 60 tribes, spoke over 30 languages, and extended from Virginia to the Rocky Mountains and from the Gulf of Mexico to the Great Lakes. At its peak between 714-20 CE, it encompassed an estimated population of 3 million. The Mississippians strategically settled along the river systems of the Midwest and Southeast, building fortified urban centers with palisades, expansive plazas, and monumental earthen mounds. Cahokia, their largest and most influential city, became a hub of political, economic, and spiritual power. While agriculture was their foundation, these people were also skilled artisans, producing exquisite pottery and metalwork, particularly in copper. Though rivalries and conflicts among tribes were frequent, they shared core religious beliefs, including the worship of a sun deity. They also engaged in elaborate games and gambling, while ambitious dynastic families rose to power within their cities. Cahokia, as the centerpiece of this civilization, stands as a testament to the complexity and sophistication of the first real North American empire. Cahokia, the first real North American empire. The largest and most powerful of the Mississippian cities was Cahokia, which reached its peak around 1100 CE with an estimated population nearing 20,000, making it one of the largest cities in the world at the time. Sprawling across 6 square miles on the east bank of the Mississippi River, opposite present-day St. Louis, Missouri, Cahokia was a center of trade, culture, and spiritual authority. The city was home to roughly 120 earthen mounds, carefully constructed for religious, political, and ceremonial purposes. Today, the Cahokia Mounds State Historic Site, spanning 2,200 acres, preserves this incredible legacy. At its heart stands Monk's Mound, the largest surviving Mississippian earthwork. Rising 100 feet and covering 14 acres, it required millions of cubic feet of earth to be transported basket by basket, a feat that speaks to the city's highly organized labor force and social hierarchy. These mounds were sacred spaces where religious ceremonies were performed, offerings and human sacrifices made, and deceased nobles buried. Around them, commoners built simple thatched homes, while smaller plazas at the city's edges served as bustling markets for farmers and traders. Cahokia's influence and trade networks. Cahokia's artisans produced highly prized ornaments and tools from stone, shell, bone, and copper, alongside weapons such as maces and ceremonial daggers that became status symbols across the Mississippian world. These goods reached other influential cities, including Spiro and Natchez, through extensive trade networks. From the Great Plains came hoes made from stone and bison bone. From Lake Superior came copper. From the Gulf of Mexico came shells. Cahokia's cultural and artistic influence was unparalleled, making it a true trendsetter and the heart of the first real North American empire. The fall of Cahokia. By the mid-14th century, Cahokia had mysteriously collapsed. Archaeological evidence shows no signs of invasion or conquest. Instead, most researchers believe that the city's population growth strained its resources, leading to its abandonment. Although Cahokia faded, the broader Mississippian culture endured for another century, leaving behind a legacy of innovation, trade, and monumental architecture. The rise of Spiro. Emerging in the 10th century along the Oklahoma-Arkansas border, Spiro became a vital religious and political center of the Mississippian culture. Known for its traders, Spiro established river outposts to exchange goods such as pipes and pottery for buffalo hides, meat, and bison shoulder bones used as plows. Like Cahokia, the Spiroans thrived on rich harvests of corn, beans, and squash cultivated in fertile floodplains. One striking cultural trait of the Spiroans was intentional cranial deformation. Shortly after birth, mothers would tightly wrap animal skins around their babies' heads, gradually reshaping their skulls into elongated, conical forms. These distinct features were visible from afar and symbolized status, clan identity, and social belonging. Spiro's peak and sacred ceremonies. While Spiro never reached the scale of Cahokia, its population peaked at approximately 10,000. Yet, during the winter and summer solstices, its influence swelled dramatically as thousands of pilgrims gathered for 3 days of elaborate religious ceremonies. In Spiro's Grand Temple Plaza, between 10,000 and 30,000 men would assemble to honor the sun god, whose messages, interpreted by priests, dictated the rhythms of daily and spiritual life, from planting cycles to ceremonial rites. The rituals were both intense and symbolic. Participants smoked sacred tobacco and drank a potent, highly caffeinated tea brewed from Yupon holly leaves, known as the Black Drink, which induced vomiting as a spiritual cleansing. For 3 days, worshippers abstained from food, water, and sleep while dancing, chanting, and awaiting divine planting instructions from the priests. The decline of Spiro and the Mississippian world. By the early 15th century, signs of decline emerged across Spiro and other centers of the Mississippian culture. A shift in climate, known as the Little Ice Age, reduced crop yields and disrupted traditional agricultural practices. Initially, Spiro's traders secured food from cities in the warmer southeast, but these settlements soon faced the same agricultural challenges. As food shortages worsened, priests made the difficult decision to evacuate the city, with many inhabitants migrating west and south in search of more stable conditions. Much like modern urban populations relocating to suburban areas during times of crisis. In a final effort to save their world, Spiroan priests around 1420 orchestrated one last grand spiritual appeal. Sacred artifacts, religious symbols, and ceremonial items from across the region were gathered and buried within the city's mounds, creating a monumental spiritual offering to their sun god. For over a year, they performed ritual rites in hopes of reversing their fate. But the decline was irreversible. Persistent crop failures and dwindling food supplies made it impossible to sustain the large urban populations that once defined the first real North American empire. By the mid-15th century, Spiro and other Mississippian cities were abandoned, their people dispersing into smaller, scattered communities. The collapse bore an eerie resemblance to the fall of great civilizations like the Roman Empire, once dominant, now reduced to fragments of memory and archaeological remains. The final echoes of a lost empire. For the first time in centuries, the once united peoples of North America returned to their tribal and semi-nomadic roots, just as Spanish and French explorers began their incursions into the continent. Much of what we know today about the Mississippian culture comes from accounts of the grand village of the Natchez in the lower Mississippi Valley, which endured well into the early period of European colonization. The Natchez fiercely resisted French expansion, but by 1731, they were defeated and scattered. Many survivors sought refuge among neighboring tribes, blending into the Chickasaws, Cherokees, and Muskogees creeks. Though the name of the Natchez faded into history, their bloodline and cultural legacy endure. The story of Cahokia and the first real North American empire is a powerful reminder of the rise and fall of civilizations, how ingenuity, culture, and unity can create something extraordinary, only to be undone by time and circumstance. If you want to uncover more hidden chapters of history and explore the untold stories of empires and peoples who shaped our world, subscribe to History Love and join us on this journey into the past.